So I'm actually probably going to get in trouble for this one because YouTube already doesn't like this kind of topics being a thing because we live in a society we live in a day and age now where you're supposed to just be spoon-fed all information and you're not supposed to have any kind of, critical thinking or outside thinking. You just have to be part of a collective hive mind. And I absolutely, despise that kind of thinking. It's one of my biggest, if not one of my top three biggest pet peeves is collective hive mind thinking. And I've been thinking about it, like what really makes a conspiracy a conspiracy? Like back in the day, you would just like if you had some kind of different thinking or if you questioned something, it would just be considered, just a conspiracy theory. But now it's been used as like, it's weaponized. You use it to attack somebody, to discredit them, to ruin any kind of credibility that they may have. And like Facebook is pretty adamant about doing this kind of thing whenever they go after you for posting anything about like flat Earth. Like, why is that so harmful for somebody to believe in flat Earth? Is it a crazy theory? Yeah, it could be. But my thing about it is the same people who will sit there and pick holes in religion and tell you like, oh, it's just man-made, like you shouldn't believe that kind of thing, are the same ones that will sit there and tell you like you need to believe in science, which is also like man discovered. It's written by man, and as we all know, mankind is pretty much corruptible. We could be influenced by like literally anything, like sex, money, substance abuse. Like we could be influenced by all kinds of things. And the reason I start thinking about this stuff, and funny enough, I know somebody's going to be like, really? Is you ever notice on like some toothpaste or whatever, it's like 9 out of 10 dentists agree that this is the one, and I always wonder like who are these dentists? Because they give us an example of like, oh, these dentists like this, but I'm like, this is where the mini little conspiracy comes in, where it's like, okay, so why would a dentist want you to buy a product from Walmart to help fix your teeth when they make their entire living off of you having bad teeth? Now, it could just be that, they generally care about you or whatever, but most people in, like, when it comes to medical or health professions, they're not supposed to care about you. They're supposed to be, like, stone faced or whatever. Like, they're not supposed to really try to bond with their patients or whatever in case, like, something happens. And it just makes me wonder, like, why is having a conspiracy theory such a bad thing? Like a long time ago, if you said you believed in UFOs or aliens, you'd be considered a nut job. But that's like the one conspiracy, other than, Jeffrey Epstein. But the whole UFO and the alien one, that's kind of like the one conspiracy where it's just unanimously agreed and accepted, except for like, religious folk. Basically, like even though the Pentagon's already like released information that, hey, UFOs are a thing, and it's got to be astronomically stupid that if you would think that Earth is the only planet in the entire universe that has life on it, it's just stupid to come to that conclusion because you don't really know. A lot of conspiracies go back with like the moon landing. I don't think we went to the moon when we said we went to the moon. I think that, yeah, we have been to the moon, but I don't think we went whenever we said we did because it was just literally a race to get there before, like, what, Russia, I think? And suddenly the US just had the technology to get there in like what, a year? It's fucking laughable. On top of that, they now say that it's impossible for us to get back to the moon because we don't have a way of getting there. Even though our technology is advanced, it's surged in capability in the last what the fuck has it been, like 50 years since we've been to the moon? Like our technology is just skyrocketed in possibility and potential, but we're over here like, no, we can't get to the moon anymore. That technology is long gone. So that, little things like that makes me question it. Have you guys ever seen Attack on Titan? I know I'm probably like somebody's going to try to pick apart my entire argument because I'm like labeling random things like this. But Attack on Titan I appreciate because it had the whole concept of like maybe we're not the only humans behind the wall. And it kind of got me thinking a little bit whenever I was watching it. And I was just like, huh, what if there were more humans? How do you know if there are, if you're the only bit of life held within these walls? You don't know because you never really ventured out. You can't really tell. When it goes to the flat Earth thing, like I can't say that it's false because honestly nobody fucking knows. The same people who will sit there and say flat Earth thinkers are stupid are the ones that only work drive-through jobs and have no real-world experience about anything. They just read somebody else's opinion on it and decided, you know what, hey, I can't think for myself. I don't want to think for myself. That's probably true. It's like when it goes back to school, whenever they teach you things, they don't really teach you anything worth noting or worth learning. Like basically some basic math, like history's not even important. They don't teach you anything about certain presidents. It's just like you get the basic fucking ones. Like George Washington was the first. He never told a lie. You had Abraham Lincoln. He freed the slaves. That's 1 in 16. Nobody talks about Van Buren. He was the eighth president of the United States. Nobody talks about anybody who isn't like Eisenhower or Nixon or JFK. You just kind of skip all of these fucking people. You don't learn about any of these fucking things. You don't learn about who the vice presidents were, what were their policies. You don't learn about any of this shit. It's as if like they're trying to completely keep you stupid or in the dark or not teach you anything. And this is my conspiracy on it. This is what makes me wonder, why should I trust these people? Why should I trust teachers? Why should I trust scientists, politicians, big tech? Big tech always tries to censor you and tell you like what you're supposed to believe in. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think you should be doing that kind of thing. I am not high, by the way. This is just how I typically think in general. And I really don't like it when people tell you like what you are supposed to believe in and what you shouldn't. Like, because they'll sit there and say it's dangerous or whatever, and it's not really dangerous. Like, the 9/11 conspiracy, that's a big one right there on its own. Because it's been debunked, like, jet fuel cannot melt steel beams. And if you watch some of the footage, you'll see, like, explosives happen at the bottom of the base. Some of the people that were interviewed for, like, the eyewitnesses or whatever, fun fact, they've all been killed. They've all died. If you want to dig into that wormhole, that rabbit hole on your own, be my guest. I'm not going to go into any more detail on that because I don't really feel like I want to talk about that kind of stuff. I'm only going to try to make this video about 10 minutes. I don't want to make it into an hour long. Now, if this is something I want to talk to my friend Jordan on whenever I do the podcast with her, that's something I'm going to definitely do because she likes conspiracies too. But it just makes me wonder, like, Bigfoot. Bigfoot was like this one of the biggest ones, and it's just like we just don't talk about Bigfoot anymore. And people like to make the meme and joke about like, oh, you ever notice that whenever your camera quality got better on your phones, people quit seeing Bigfoot. But I'm also over here like, yeah, you ever notice that when our phones got better, we quit paying attention to everything that's going on in the world unless it's on your phone. You don't look around when you walk, you don't pay attention to nature. Most people don't even go out and explore nature anymore. Like we're always just sitting at our computer, sitting at our phone, watching TV. We don't do anything. Our idea of like having a vacation nowadays, most people don't even travel anymore, and it's not due to because of COVID. Like that's another conspiracy on its own right there. And that one I'm absolutely convinced is a big crock of shit. Like of course people are dying from a disease. I'm not going to dispute that at all, but I don't think that it's this like world-ending fucking virus. I will say that it's definitely political. You're stupid if you think it's not political. It was literally used to like, for the 2020 election, but nobody goes out and tries to live anymore. We always have to just we're stuck in literally we're stuck in the matrix, and I think that's what makes that movie so revolutionary and makes people think about shit because you start noticing like anomalies and like just things that don't add up. Like a lot of shit that you'll see on Twitter because Twitter went after I'm sorry, not Twitter, but like big tech went after Parler, saying Parler was fueling hate speech and stuff like that because it's it's a big conspiracy, like we had to take it down. But if you go on Twitter, there's always shit trending like we must kill Trump, we must kill people who think differently than the collective hive mind, and I think that's just it's fucking disgusting. Like nobody talks about Loch Ness monster anymore. Nobody like does this kind of shit, and I feel yeah maybe I'm ranting a little bit here, but I just feel like this is stuff that I like to talk about. I like to think about. I'm absolutely against anybody telling me what I need to believe in or think. And if you call me stupid, you cannot really explain yourself without quoting something that someone else said, because you yourself cannot come up with your own collective thought on it. You're gonna sit there and like try to debate me with shit and give me links to articles to things that are clearly biased, and you can't sit there and tell me you won't, because people do it all the fucking time. I engage with people like this on Facebook. I've engaged with people like this on Twitter. They tried to give me a link to something, and one guy gave me a link to the fucking Onion because he thought it was a credible news source. And I'm just like, interesting. So, what is your thought on this without reading the headline of an article you never read? I would like to know what you have to say about it. So, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, what you think is your favorite conspiracy. I would like to, collect a little bit of these. So, whenever I get to my podcast episode about this, I would like to talk about this kind of shit. I'm down for it, dude. Let's go. And as always, I will see everyone in the next video. Hopefully Tom Brady doesn't win in the Super Bowl.